in the island, and we have got very big developments going up next to Grand, and Le Moselier would be developer, but they're being put off because they think there's too many offices being developed. So I think that's probably a fair synthesis of the questions that have just been asked, and perhaps we could put that to the Minister and perhaps back to John just for a few minutes.
Yes, thank you very much for the questions. One of the questions, I think it was Alan who asked about the amount of demand. I think that was a question of particular interest to him and perhaps others here. There are currently 13 different businesses who are in discussions with the State of Jersey Development Company about space in this particular development, Jersey International Finance Centre. That's around about 330,000 square feet in total of space that they're discussing with the development company. To date, heads of terms have been signed. That's the initial stage. That's not a legally binding document, and until a legally binding lease is signed, of course, no development can proceed. So it's not a question, I don't think, of gambling. I think that's a strong word that was used. Alan, or perhaps it was Sharon actually, was referring to gambling with state finances being, as she said, in the state that they're currently in. I don't believe that's the case. The State Securities Company has a lot of assets, for example, which is assets which belong to you, effectively, the people of Jersey. It was on the asset sheet they're showing, on the balance sheet they're showing currently around £48 million of assets that are managed by that particular company. And there has been an investment to date of about £5 million that I mentioned earlier in terms of getting to this stage with designs and planning, consents and all the rest of it. One of the other themes that I think was coming across in the questions a moment ago was around about the issue of what happens with this development if only part goes ahead. I've explained the process at the moment, which is to de-risk the development. So we start with one building at a time. As tenants are identified and legally binding agreements are signed, then that allows the cost of the building to be covered, therefore de-risking it from a public finance point of view. But I think the question was, after you build number one, what happens if you don't get any tenants for the second building or anything further from there? I mean, in short, there would be a debate to be had about variants of the master plan, I suppose, and looking for other uses for the land. Frankly, I don't think that's very likely. With the amount of demand I just mentioned, 330,000 square feet, 13 businesses actively looking at the moment, I don't think that's really very likely. But it's like all these things. Any of these plans are not fixed. They have to be living documents, and they evolve as circumstances change over a period of time. The lady, I think it was Amanda at the back, was also making some very good points about health and safety and light and living environments. I'm sorry if you feel you're going to be blocked out by that development from where you are currently. I would hope that the design and such like of this development would ensure that neighbouring buildings are properly looked after. That's a matter for the planning authorities to ensure that they get that right. I don't know if Lee wants to make a comment in a minute, he can if he wishes. But I would certainly hope that the design is properly dealt with to ensure that that's right. As far as the other issue you were asking about rental or sale, of course, in most cases when a commercial development of this nature is undertaken, it would get to the first rental period, that's 3 years in, to ensure that the building is properly let out, to maximise the value, maximise yield, and consider a sale at that stage to capitalise the value and take the money. There could be a decision with later blocks that maybe the state would decide to hold on to them and keep the revenue if it's generating good revenue that can help pay for some other public services that we currently enjoy. But the intention is to build and to sell at this stage.